The New Producers Group is a group, like a network, a South-South exchange between 30 emerging producer countries. So some are in the exploration phase, some have made discoveries like Guyana, some have just started production in the last 10 years. And they face similar questions, and we create opportunities in which they can share their experience and really just learn from each other. So that's a very powerful kind of forum, because you're learning from your peers and giving back information to them on what you've learned. So I think that's it's a great group, and Guyana has been a member and participant of that group since the beginning, since 2012. So we've seen Guyana transform from the days of just being a frontier and exploring to major discoveries that, especially in light of the ratio of reserves to population, have a real transformative potential. So in a sense, I think Guyana is really a particularly important member of our group, because it crystallizes all the issues that are faced by the members of our group. You know, how to manage expectations after a discovery, how to manage the resource when you suddenly have one to play with, in a sense. You know, what kind of questions arise so that you basically can optimize the development of the resource, extract the maximum value from it, and not lose something from this opportunity. And I think the discussions in the next 2 days will really be focusing on first managing resources and then managing wealth. So it will really take us through the chain of the resource. So just to say a few words about who we are, the New Producers Group is organized by three institutions: Chatham House, Natural Resource Governance Institute, and the Commonwealth Secretariat. They are all financed by non-commercial interests, so we don't have our policies, our statements are not guided by any type of commercial agenda, and we're not consultancies. And I think it's important to state that clearly. And we are often asked if we actually have an agenda, because in a lot of emerging producer countries, especially when there's a discovery, there are a lot of groups that come to with an agenda on how they think the sector should be organized or outcomes they would like to see occur. And I think our agenda is really to be on the side of government. So to level the playing field vis-a-vis oil operators, to help governments be strong and capable partners to oil companies for the best outcome for the countries. And it's actually in the interest of the oil companies as well to have a strong and capable interlocutor. So I think that's our agenda, and we have we organize workshops and do publications and bring producers together, and that's basically our activities. So I think I will now turn to Minister Jordan to make his introductory comments, but I just want to end with thanking you very much for inviting us to Guyana to be part of these discussions.
I'm extremely honored to have been invited to address you at this very important workshop that will provide an exchange of views on pertinent policy issues related to Guyana's oil and gas prospects, and to share country experiences that can benefit us as we embark on the commercial oil extraction and trade. As you probably know, especially since you have been there before, and you can see, the excitement in Guyana is palpable And we look forward with bated breath to the very first barrel. At this early stage, I would therefore like to thank the sponsors of this seminar. I will want to recognize Chatham House, who were very gracious last year in sending myself and the Minister of Natural Resources and some of his officials to Uganda to witness firsthand their operations there. And I can tell you it was a really worthwhile and fulfilling experience. The efficient management of the oil and gas sector and the prudent utilization of the revenues in Guyana must involve multiple stakeholders. It will require close cooperation with and collaboration from all the entities represented here today and more. And so, your presence at this workshop is an indication of your willingness to better understand the various roles that have to be played as we go forward into post-2020. Let me emphasize that the management of oil resources starts with the management of domestic expectations. And this is extremely important because I earlier said that the excitement is there and people are waiting with bated breath. But some people are doing more than that. They're already calling to find out when we're going to start distributing the money. I know this is not a joke, this is true. People are already calling when we are going to start distributing money. So it is extremely important that we are able to manage domestic expectations. All the expectation management is necessary to avoid pressure on this government to undertake excessive public spending when we commence our oil extraction in 2020. I must note, however, that we do have a plan, that our government plan is to ensure that the citizens receive maximum benefit from the oil revenues as we pursue fiscal discipline. As the Minister of Finance, I should be aware of the fact that oil resources are exhaustible and prices are volatile, hence the need for efficient planning to ensure that revenues are spent wisely and the economy is insulated from shocks stemming from volatility in commodity prices. In this regard, the Ministry of Finance is in the process of designing a dedicated fiscal framework with clear objectives and priorities. We will also adopt a coherent macroeconomic management strategy that fosters inclusive growth and sustainable development outcomes. As you're aware, many oil-producing countries, including some of our immediate neighbors, have been experiencing severe macroeconomic instability. The evidence has shown that countries can mitigate this pitfall through efficient economic diversification. And that's why our plan is to invest heavily in core traditional sectors while our revenues are available. In this regard, we are currently conceptualizing a medium-term development plan with assistance from the United Nations Environmental Programme. We are also working on a draft legislation to govern the establishment and operation of a sovereign wealth fund. At this stage, I would like to thank the Commonwealth Secretariat for providing the initial draft of this fund. Subsequent to receiving that draft, we have done significant amount of work and we have had extensive comments from the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the Inter-American Development Bank, among other stakeholders. The main purpose of the Sovereign Wealth Fund will be to safeguard against the resource curse, to improve future generational wealth, to achieve fiscal sustainability, and to increase the country's national savings. We will ensure that the elements of this fund are compatible with the developmental objectives of the government. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to stress that transparency and accountability in the management of Guyana's oil and gas sector are priorities for this government, and we will seek to utilize as many of the available tools as possible in pursuit of these noble objectives. In closing, as I noted at the beginning of my remarks, as stakeholders, We have a shared responsibility to ensure that the oil and gas sector is efficiently managed and that the policies implemented translate the revenues we receive into positive developmental outcomes in spite of the challenges. I wish you all a good workshop, and I look forward to the discussions, ensuing discussions, and the outcomes.
The green economy and the extractive industries being at odds with each other. In Sunday's New York Times, last Sunday's New York Times, there's a very good, interesting article entitled Both Climate Leader and Oil Giant, a Norwegian Paradox, because as much as Norway holds itself out as being one of the greenest states in the world, it is also one of the largest oil producers. And I remind everyone, challenges me about this from time to time, that the two are not mutually exclusive. We can do both, and I believe Minister Jordan quite ably set out how we intend to do so, at least in some regard. So this morning, I'd just like to go through 5 matters in terms of our preparations. You know, the context being, of course, that in May of 2015, on or about the 5th of May, Exxon announced that it had made a significant discovery of oil offshore Guyana, 123 miles or thereabouts. So since then we've been preparing. We moved from significant to putting some definition on that, and that definition in the Liza well alone tells us that there is a minimum of 800 million barrels to a possible 1.4 billion. Exxon has, of course, 2 partners alongside it, developing this resource, Hess, which is an American company, and CNOOC Nexen, which is a Chinese company. Hess is a company I look to from time to time to get the truth, to know exactly what is going on. They have a very aggressive PR program. So when Exxon says a minimum of 800 barrels, Hess says it's closer to 1.2 billion. And even last week, when Hess announced that it had made an investment decision, it pegged the oil in the Stabroek block discovered so far to be a minimum of 2.3, I think, to about 2.7 billion barrels. Since the discovery at the Liza well, 2 other wells have had discoveries which we are still quantifying. Snook and Payara, rather, the first, and then the second one was a well known as Snook. I know Mr. Dennison is at the back. I was asked before, why aren't we using indigenous names? I think as companies go forward, there's some superstition with miners and explorers. They like to attach sometimes sentimental names and descriptions to some of these, but I believe we'll have to do some work on that as well. But suffice to say that the resource discovered to date is over 1 billion barrels, and as Hess's press releases suggest, it perhaps goes over 2 billion. So since then, we have been in government working overtime. We have a cabinet subcommittee that comprises Minister of Finance, of course, Minister of Public Infrastructure, Minister of Business, Minister of Agriculture, Education, Social Protection, because as Minister Jordan rightly pointed out a few minutes ago, it really involves a full court effort and full court press, because all hands have to be on board here, and we have been working. In regard to the work at the Ministry of Natural Resources proper, we have been firstly strengthening the legal and regulatory framework. We've been working with the Commonwealth Secretariat, and I wish to thank Dr. Weil and others who are here and those who are not here for the work that they've done. We have, as you've heard, developed the first draft of a sovereign wealth fund bill, which Minister Jordan is refining and doing more work on. We have as well developed the Petroleum Commission of Guyana bill, which is in Parliament now, thanks to the Commonwealth Secretariat. And we are completing the review and the updating of the Petroleum Act, which was enacted in 1986 with some amendments in 1997. The idea being that we will bring a new, fresh act rather than have a multiplicity of amendments. We'll have one compendium and, of course, new regulations to accompany that act, because it was somewhat weighted in favor of explorations. Now we are no longer a frontier venue where we are speculating. We know for certain that there's oil here, and so we are putting more emphasis on production and, of course, current best practices. So we have, as well, completed quite recently, with the help of our UNDP expert, as he then was, Mr. Anthony Paul, a rapid assessment of the sector. He submitted his report in December, and since then we've been implementing various aspects of it. We have Ms. Jackie Corey, who came to us, in fact, we borrowed her from New Producers Group at Chatham House, who is also working to implement the recommendations of the rapid assessment. And of course, we have Chatham House itself, as Minister Johnson has pointed out. This is a continuous process that we are engaged in, and we are quite happy to receive the benefit of Chatham House's advice. We have Ben, who is here, welcome again, and Jackie, who hosted us in Uganda, in Kampala, last year, July, and continue to offer good advice, continue to put us in touch with experts, the world's best, from time to time, so that we could be guided and advised. So this is what is happening insofar as the regulatory and legal framework is concerned. Insofar as exploration and production, as far as they go, indeed, as I said, Exxon has continued quite ambitiously and aggressively to carry out more seismic surveys and to develop other fields for exploration, and of course they're testing both back at Liza, and I believe some tests will be done in the other two to quantify the volumes there. Other companies have also shown great interest. There's been a renewed interest, and so we are processing a number of applications, and some are, as you would have seen recently, as in the case of Tullow, which is a British company. They recently announced that they will be starting some seismics this month, I think, or early next month. We are beefing up our expertise there. We have recently taken on some staff at the ministry as we create a petroleum directorate, so to speak, just to advise on policy. And His Excellency the President has also appointed a presidential advisor, is Dr. Jan Mandel, who unfortunately is not here today, but he is also providing advice. Insofar as infrastructure development is concerned, I, like Minister Jordan, was quite enthralled by Minister Patterson's presentation about the development, and of course, roads and ports, etc. But we're most interested, for the time being, with the support that can be offered to the industry. And this is why government has been quite keen on bringing to Guyana a world-class onshore supply base. Currently, Exxon uses John Finance's facilities on the Demerara River, and they also use facilities on the Trinidad and Tobago. And we believe that as time progresses and the industry develops, that we will need to have a base that can provide all of the services in Guyana. And of course, as I do remind myself from time to time, we're not only talking about Exxon, there are other operators that are operating and others who are coming on stream. And so we can expect a hive of activity in the coming months and years. And this is why having a base is very important to us, and we are collaborating with the Ministry of Public Infrastructure to have that done. We are looking at several venues, of course, starting at the mouth of the Berbice River, coming right through to Essequibo. Some ministers recently took a tour of all the rivers to look at possible sites, and we are going to be having a feasibility study done very soon. We're going to start that process. And moving on, of course, the question that is asked most if you are in Georgetown is, what is in it for me? And followed next by what is an oil spill. So what is in it for me is, of course, local content. How can I be a part of this? I'm happy that Mr. Paul is here, because not only is he an expert in this field of local content, having been in many regards the author of Trinidad and Tobago's policy, but But he also reminds me from time to time that in Trinidad and Tobago, only 4% of the population is directly involved in the oil and gas industry. I think everyone wants to be a part of it. And I use the anecdote from time to time of a young man who came to me recently, met me at the gate of the ministry asking for a job. I knew him to be a farmer from up the highway. And he offered him a job, and he came back a week later. He said he doesn't want that job. I said, what do you want? He said, I want to work on the rig. He sees himself as working on a rig, and I think there is this glorified belief or impression that you can just turn up on a rig and start working. It's a specialized field. You require training, understanding health and safety matters, etc. So Mr. Paul is back in Guyana and is going to be advising the ministry and working with the private sector to implement local content policies and hopefully regulations that will follow. There's some angst, of course, in our society that we will get nothing from this, but of course, as Minister Jordan set out, as I said quite ably a few minutes ago, it is what we do with the revenue that is more important. And we have to manage expectations. Not everyone will be employed as a welder, as a helicopter pilot, or working in a pair of overalls someplace. There are other skills that are going to be needed, from catering to machinists, to mechanics, to drillers, yes, to laundry services, to security. So we are going to see our economy mushrooming in a different direction. So the other companion to local content, of course, is capacity building. We have been working with the Ministry of Education to do what we can to boost capacities at the University of Guyana, and the GGLC has had a long-standing relationship with the University of Guyana, and we have been speaking to them about extending or increasing the extent or benefits that have been given. And the expectation is that over the next 3 years, Mr. Dennison, you need to nod in an affirmation here, that over the next 3 years, we'll be giving $100 million to the University of Guyana to ensure that they can boost their capacities in terms of the programs for oil and gas. Also, we are going to be pursuing scholarships abroad. We are speaking to the Public Service Department to boost capacities there, ensuring that the companies themselves that come to work in Guyana, also as part of their corporate social responsibility, will offer training